You're listening to the Pure Fury Creations Entertainment Network.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another action-packed episode of Hanging with the Hitman. I am Todd Gilbert.
And I'm Brett Fortney, the Hitman.
Action-packed, man. That means, like, do we have stunt doubles?
I do. I don't know about you.
Oh.
Yeah, I do. I definitely do, yeah.
I didn't know you
There's
had
so
a
many
stunt
people
double.
that tell me so many people tell me that I look like, or people look like me. That guy that's on a show called Chicago Med, who is a psychiatrist on that show. Can't remember his name, but they always say, are you related to that guy? No, I'm not.
You should be cashing checks, man. Be cashing them checks.
No. He's a good actor, but no, it's not me. If I guess I'm flattered because he's a pretty good actor.
Right on.
Can't think of his name. Can't think of his name right at the second. But it's like Oswald or something like that. It's something. Look it up. It's the psychiatrist on Chicago Med.
Google it. Google it, kids. It's what it's for.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
man. And for those of you wondering what it's like in our neck of the woods today, as the day we're taping this, it is 90 degrees outside, and I am not leaving the house.
So I was just out. It was like 84. I'm like, and I don't know what it is. Probably because I'm getting older, my blood is getting thinner or something, because I'm not too hot right now. Now, a few minutes, probably if I go do something near upstairs, because I'm down in the basement where it's nice and cool. If I go upstairs, it's literally a 30-degree difference.
Dang.
I swear to God, it feels like it anyway. It's not, but it feels like.
No, I went outside I went outside to go grab lunch, and I'm like, oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan, folks.
Yeah.
And it's not even summer
Yeah.
yet.
Not even yet. See, that's what I think. I don't think that we get spring anymore. I think it's just winter, something in the middle with some rain, and then summer. That's all we get. We don't get spring anymore. We really don't. It's been like this for the last few years. I've noticed it.
Yeah.
It's not just me, I don't think.
You're not gonna tell me global warming isn't real.
Tell them, hey, tell those bears that are floating on a piece of ice over there in Antarctica that there's no such thing as global warming.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead.
Those poor polar bears.
Those polar bears,
Man.
Polar bears.
Life isn't always as easy as the Coca-Cola polar bear makes it look.
Nope.
Just saying. So we've had
bring it down.
I know, right? So we've had some requests and some people who have been listening to us from the beginning, and I'm talking about like the way back when we had our podcast, like 2 years ago when we first started doing this off and on.
Yeah.
That really enjoyed some of the segments that we used to do, and so we decided, your wish is our command. You want us to kick it old school. Neither of us are going to complain about kicking it old school. I'll tell you that much.
No,
so
I'm old school.
We both are very old school.
You are too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in honor of kicking it old school, we're bouncing back to some segments we're going to keep in the show. And first up is celebrity birthdays. And check this out, because they're all pretty old. So as of this record, oh wait, I should have done it I messed up. I did it the history of as of the day we're recording this, not the day it comes out.
Well, we can just say it's the day of we're recording it. Oh, whatever. You can just say whatever you want to do.
Oh man, I can do this. So see, I thought I was no, it's fine. I thought I was prepared. But surprise.
While Todd is sweating and trying to capture something real quick, I'm gonna go out of frame for a sec. I'm giving me a sip. Hold on. I'm good. You got it?
Okay, so today's birthdays. All right, I got it figured out now. Go me. Woohoo! Okay, today's birthdays for the June 5th episode of our show. Today, actor Mark Wahlberg is 51 years old. He's got some good movies.
Come on,
man.
come on.
I mean, he ain't just, it ain't just feel it,
No, he does have some good music. He does have some good music, but one thing that I disliked that at the beginning anyway, he was really not cool with that song being introduced when he came out onto like a talk show. He'd say, "You play that, I'm gonna leave." So that's what made him, and his underwear and all that stuff. That's cool. But anyway, that's just my little. Come on.
Bassist Pete Wentz is 43 years old.
Fall Out Boy, right?
Yep.
He's from. Yep.
Actor Nick Kroll is 44. DJ Mustard, that's a thing, is 32.
Mustard on the beat. Mm-hmm.
Is that really a thing? Wow.
Yes, and you know how people, DJs or record producers have their little stamp at the beginning of a song, whatever. His is mustard on the beat. So whenever you hear a song that says mustard on the beat right at the beginning, that's he produced it or whatever.
The man who taught us how to count in R&B singing, Brian McKnight, is 53.
One,
two,
two.
Soap opera actress Barbara DeRegel, I don't know who that is 35. Let's see here. I'm going past ones that we have no clue who these people are. Everybody's heard this guy at the dentist office or a doctor's office. Kenny G is 66 years old today.
Oh.
And that is our birthdays for today. Sad, isn't it?
I like to make a little comment about that. It is. I'd like to make a little comment about Kenny G. This is kind of funny. I told you this before, that every day something happens. I was watching a show today where somebody was talking about Kenny G, that somebody bought Kenny G's house, like one of the Kardashians or something. And one of the guys says, "For that much? For playing the saxophone?" Here's what the guy, no, he actually said, "For playing the chord." I don't know what he said. He didn't say saxophone, but he said, so anyway, Kenny G, loved him back in the day when I, DJ weddings, because he was a soundtrack to almost 75% of the weddings that I did back in the day, for dinner music, that is,
Right.
But, yeah. So anytime a Kenny G song comes on anywhere, somehow, like in an elevator or in a Target or something, I don't know, I cringe just a little bit. It's like going in there and you hearing some kind of wonderful. Yes, that's the one. That's called Silhouette, and that's the one I'm talking about. That song is called Silhouette.
I don't know how I feel about you knowing that.
I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I have to.
I mean, do you really though? I mean,
mind you, I will never be playing a Kenny. I won't play Kenny G greatest hits or anything. Just hanging out at the house.
Are you sure?
That's just not me. But at weddings, they work great. What the song I'm talking about?
Are you sure you'll never just sit at home?
Is that what you're talking about? It might not be. I don't know why.
I'm saying, are you sure you don't just sit at home playing?
I never will. But but you know what? A few weeks ago, I picked up a couple of Barbara Streisand's old CDs that I didn't have from before, from the 60s, So maybe I'm starting to go in that older direction of midlife crisis
people who need people.
About a quarter done with my life. Kind of need people are the luckiest people.
All right, that's all you can sing, or we're gonna get sued. That's all you can sing. Just that line.
It was one of my mom's. It was one of my. I know. That's why I stopped. But I will say that we will. Do you feel like part of your bringing up with the music that you like came from your parents? Because Barbara Streisand definitely came from my mom.
That's where I got my love of Michael Jackson.
Because
my mom and the Beach Boys.
That one wasn't from my mom, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
So happy birthday to all you rich people,
Just...
And in honor of the rich people's birthday, I think it's time. We
what time is it?
We get us a little sippy sip. We'll throw one up to.
But I just put this. I just put this floor down so I can't give a little sip, and then
you can't pour one out for the homies.
I can't. I just put this floor down, man. I ain't got no cleaning supplies to clean up.
So what are you sipping on right now, man?
Oh, I went to BK today.
Burger King for those of you playing along.
So I'm not doing the sippy sip of the Gatorade. I'm waiting on that sponsor to call back. But anyway, what I'm saying is, no, I'm just getting some liquids. I went to Burger King today and thought
Diet Coke.
Nobody was at the house. I'm just Diet Coke. Yeah.
Nice. And I got me some
energized.
I got me some Dr. Pepper here. So let's get our sip real quick. Nice. You know, got to get our sip real quick. Let's get a sip right.
Hold on. There's your, okay, let me get mine.
Delicious.
I can't sip the way I want to. It's too full.
So every time we do sippy time, man, if you're listening, you know, you got to sip along with us. It's how it works.
Yeah.
So a lot of things happening in entertainment right now. And we're going to sit here and talk about some of the bigger things that have coming up right now at our entertainment news desk.
Now it's time for all the news that is news from Todd's news desk.
Where's Ted Koppel when you need him? You know,
right.
Today Walter Cronkite, and today
Walter Cronkite.
You know, so just announced today as this taping. So, well, we'll start here. A couple days ago, it was announced that Robert De Niro just had a new kid. At 79 years old. If you ever wonder if your plumbing still works in your 70s, Robert De Niro is proof that yes, it does.
Did you hear the latest, though?
Hold on, we're getting to that. I wanted to bridge that with this new thing that got announced today.
I get it. I get it.
Because Al Pacino is not one to be outdone by Robert De Niro. At 83 years old, it has just been announced that Al Pacino is expecting a new child with his 29-year-old girlfriend, who also used to date Mick Jagger. 29-year-old girlfriend is expecting a baby with 83-year-old Al Pacino. God willing, he would be 101 by the time the kid turns 18.
I have I have some thoughts about that because I was watching a show today where they were discussing this topic, and you know I've thought about this every time I see that. Even when Janet got pregnant at 50, I kind of thought, here's the thing though. The only thing I'm thinking of, financially, you're set. These kids have to have some kind of nurturing, and that's fine if they got. You know, the kid will have a 29-year-old mom to hang out with or whatever, but I'm not really. I mean, hey, who knows? Al Pacino might be able to go out there and throw a baseball in 6 years, you know, when he's 90 or whatever it is. But I'm just saying, I don't financially, like I said, financially, I think it's cool that you can take care of a child like that and everything will be taken care of for the rest of the whatever. But I think a child's bringing up most of the time is better. Not all the time. I mean, but if the dad's around and he's able to, you know, this kid is going to be probably losing his father before he reaches the age of, who knows? I mean, people can live forever.
And that's the thing. Like, so Al's 83, okay? Let's just say Al lives to be 93. The kid will be 9 when his dad dies. Like, what sucks about these older than old celebrities having kids is you're introducing automatic trauma to your children because you're going to die before the kid is old enough to really like have a life with you. You know what I mean? And so you're automatically guaranteeing this kid is going to have dead dad trauma. You know what I mean? And yeah, you're rich and you can like afford to like have fancy nannies and all that other stuff, but at the end of the day, is it really fair to the kid? You know what I mean? Yeah,
true. What I think though too is what I was thinking about these people that were talking, and it kind of made sense for a minute, and I can't remember how she said it. The girl that was saying it, it's like something like financially to like what she was saying was just pretty much like it's a business transaction kind of thing. This woman wanted a child, and he was able to give it to her. Whether I don't know how they did it, but who knows? Probably just old fashioned way.
Did you skip sex ed in high school, man? I can tell you how they did it. I mean, we might. Kids, cover your ears. Kids, cover your ears.
Hold on. I'm on the second chapter. Don't ruin it for me. I got like 7 more chapters to go, man.
When a mommy and daddy love each other very much, or just tolerate each other, then after an hour or so of special hugging, anyway.
Special hugging, right? And what they like to call spooning. No, what I mean by that is, I don't know. I think we're picturing in our mind some kind of like house over, with a big farmland where what's the kid going to do? Mm-hmm. Maybe they live in an apartment, she has an apartment conveniently in, New York, and he's not even there that much. He just kind of comes by. The mother's going to probably raise this stuff, whatever it is, a boy, girl, whatever, twins, maybe, who knows?
Right.
But, she'll probably be doing the raising, and who knows if there's been, children raised without fathers. Not all the time, with great results, but there has been a lot. I was kind of raised without a father. I seem to be okay, but you know what I mean? So I think that, at least he'll have she or he will have their mother to hopefully raise them, but who knows, we don't know. But I think, in my opinion, dude, you're just too old. Go spend your money or something on something else, man.
I mean, here's hoping that, things work out, but
we don't know the details. Maybe he wanted to like carry, his bloodline with somebody, and hopefully if it's a boy, he can do that or whatever, but it doesn't matter anymore anyway. So I really don't understand why old people do that. That's just my personal opinion. Because it's psychologically for the kids messed up.
Yeah,
later
absolutely.
on in life. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Also in the news, apparently, and this has been happening at every show, people have been walking out in droves at Shania Twain's concerts.
Really?
Audience members have been walking out because the shows, according to them, are terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Because she's lip syncing a lot, and apparently it's like obvious. And some people have said it seems like she's drunk, and some people have just said like it's just like it's not the show that they were hoping for. And which runs into the whole thing of so many artists now are lip syncing and singing to tracks and all that kind of thing, and audiences are starting to catch on, and they're starting to get pissed because they've paid $300, in some cases $700 if you're Taylor Swift, and they expect to hear you, not the record. They want to hear you. And just like, that's why I won't go see Kiss now, because Paul is lip syncing. There is no live singing with Paul Stanley. He's lip syncing. And I have no interest in watching Paul lip sync some of my favorite Kiss songs. I saw the first farewell tour.
The records if you want to do that.
Right, and we both got to see the original lineup when they got back together, so I'm good, But it's a really crazy time when all these artists are thinking they can cut corners like that, but the problem is fans nowadays have gotten a lot smarter, and there's YouTube and there's web forums where they're going online, sharing videos, showing evidence, saying, look, she's singing and she's not even near the microphone. How are these lines coming out? Like, Motley Crue has been doing that this tour. Vince Neil is completely lip syncing too. And it's funny because you still can understand what the hell he's saying. But there's one part in the show, in the Motley Crue one, that I've seen this video, and they're doing same old situation, right? And they get to the chorus, and he holds the mic out for the audience to sing it, and his voice is still going. Yes. And there's another one. Yeah. They're playing Dr. Feelgood, I think it is. And Nikki Sixx is playing bass, and it's these chugging eighth notes that are really driving. He takes his hand off the bass, and it's still going.
Still doing it, yeah.
It's like it's all tracks. The only person live is Tommy Lee and John Five. They're the only ones live. And Mick Mars was saying that when he got let go or left or whatever, he said that was his biggest problem with the stadium tour was that everything was on track. And he goes, I can play. I don't need a track. I can play this. And they, he said, I think he said 75% of the show is all pre-recorded.
See, I wondered with that. I was wondering if because they start the tour with him. Is that then
with
like
Mick,
in the middle of it or whatever? Was this? Yes.
No. So they did the stadium tour.
Issues.
So they did the stadium tour, which was when they got back together, and it was them, Def Leppard, Joan Jett, and Poison. And Mick was in that whole tour. After that tour was over, Mick's like, my health is not what it was. That tour was really, really hard on him. And so he wanted to step away live. He still wanted to be in the band, like studio wise and, be in on decisions and stuff. But live, he was like, I can't anymore. And apparently the band kind of ousted him in a way. I don't know all the details. They brought in John Five, who is amazing. John Five is just he's incredible.
Yeah.
If there ever was a great fit for Motley Crue, you know what I mean? And I've seen videos of him and he's killing it. He sounds amazing. But now Mick has gone on this whole thing of just saying, look, it's not even live half the time. So did he go out of the group then, and then now he's kind of like dissing them because he's out though? Is that kind of what's going on with that? Yep.
He's an original member, so I can feel his anger. I think that, when certain people leave, it's the same thing. It's like we're all in it together, and if not one of us is in it, then none of us are in it. But then when one of them are gone and the money's still shiny over here going ding, 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 look at us over here, they're going to find a replacement. And that really sucks for four brothers that were together as a group for the beginning, and he was definitely at the beginning, you know what I mean? So I don't know what you feel about that, because I can feel, if you're not up to it, we still want to go on, then that's cool. But
no,
I think that's a total different thing. You know what I mean?
I think if Mick's not up to it and the band wants to keep going on, that's awesome, and he doesn't have any problem with that. It was his idea for them to get John Five and get a new guy, but he still wanted to be in the corporation side and be in on decisions and stuff like that. And because he's not playing live, the band is like, nah. And to me, I think that's crap, because Motley Crue would not have existed if it wasn't for Mick Mars. I've seen the movie The Dirt. I know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I even read the book. And Mick was a very big reason Motley Crue exists. He even created the name, everything, So to totally oust him out of everything, I think is bullshit, especially when he was doing the right thing, saying, look, my health can't handle this, but I want you guys to go on and do what you want to do. You know what I mean? And the Kiss thing is different because go ahead.
No, kissing is different. But I was saying the reason I was wondering about if he was the one when he, after he got let go, started talking about it, I wondered if the tracks thing could have been because of his health, could have been helpful for him in his health situation at the beginning. Maybe I thought that was what.
From what I understand, he still played live. From what I understand.
Well, because I know that, yeah. Well, I mean, look at Vince. Vince can't sing anymore either. So I thought, that would probably be a factor in there too, because Vince is horrible when they try to isolate. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
It's horrible.
What did he say about a bee? What? There's a great video, and I just can't remember. Chubba Bee is one of the lines they show, and it's translated with subtitles, and oh my god, it's so funny. Yeah. But no, I think lip syncing is dishonest, and you're ripping off your fans, and it's insulting. There are exceptions, for example, in the 90s, we won't go to the last tour he did, but in the 90s, Michael Jackson would lip sync part of the shows. You know what I mean? Like the songs that he had to do super heavy dance stuff, he lip synced. But he also sang live. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, it was probably, 70% of the show was probably him singing and the rest was lip syncing when he originally started doing stuff like that? Yeah. So to me, that's okay. That's okay. And the audience, I think, is probably in on it. Like, he doesn't tell the audience, but they know. But for someone like him, you don't go see him just to hear him sing. You go see the spectacle and the fact that the dancing and the stage show and things like that. You're not going to see Shania Twain for all that stuff.
It's all it's all technically put together. Like, this is going to happen at this specific time. You know, it's all put together like that. And his show, because it's all like video stuff and like all that. So it's a show where Motley Crue is just. I mean, I'm sure they just they have some kind of routine too, but their songs are just supposed to be played live or played in a certain order or whatever. They could probably change it up if they wanted to and play something else if they wanted to. Michael wouldn't be able to do that. So that's the Motley Crue thing, I think. I love bands that can just go off the cuff. I mean, of course, Michael, but like bands, I feel like sometimes I like rock bands, not so much like a dance group, we just saw Janet last week, that kind of thing. I understood that too. But something that's just
she sings live too, right?
Yeah. That one's probably about 60% of that.
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that I think that when you have to do it, when you're out of breath or whatever, and you're doing a routine in a show. But if you're a band, I don't know. I was working at a bar called Bodoggies, Fenton, Michigan, a while back when we had bands.
Back in the before time,
playing in that band too, way back, and you would fill in, and you were part of a group a few times. I don't remember you having to have any tracks because you were just playing some mute. You're just playing some live song.
Well, right. And, they can't say, I mean, people can't throw the argument of, well, they're older. Because Paul McCartney is old as hell and is still singing everything live and playing live and touring a lot. Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl is in his 50s, if I remember correctly. He might even be older than that. I mean,
I think it's a little bit. I think it's a 52, 53.
Dave Grohl right now is 54. So him and Pat are around the same age. And they're on a world tour right now, and they're killing it. Like, it can be done. So if you're just so lazy or just can't come to grips with the fact that you don't have it anymore, so instead of just retiring or just doing something else, you're going to rip off your fans by making the whole show nothing but lip syncing. I think you need to get out of the business. You have no business here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But can I give a counterpoint to that to say that maybe, let's say this is a legendary performer that fans still really want to see, and they're up there in age and stuff, but they really just want to see if they still got it. And one more time, I remember a story of Frank Sinatra that I think I told you before, but it's the same kind of thing. It's like fans want you out there. And if you screw up, sometimes if you're singing live and you screw up and you're a legendary performer or just somebody that just, I'm sorry, they don't care. They'll even root for you because you messed up and try again. You know what I mean?
There's this really cool clip of Louis Capaldi. You know who that is. Yeah. So he was doing his big hit, Someone
Beautiful.
You Love.
No, is that him?
Someone You Love.
That's right. That's right.
And so Louis Capaldi has Tourette's, okay? And in this show, he wasn't able to sing that song because his situation was messing with him. The audience sang the whole song and didn't care. They supported him. They were like, we got you, bro. And they sang, and he just stood there listening while they sang the whole thing. And like, to me, if I'm in the audience, let's say I'm going to go see like, I'm trying to think of an older, let's say I'm going to see Metallica, which I am in November. Let's say James Hetfield is struggling one night and he can't sing Sad But True perfectly and he messes up a bunch. I don't care because he's actually trying and he's actually giving it all he has. He's not ripping off anybody. He's giving it everything he can. Whereas people that are lip syncing,
Yes.
you know, yeah, they're dancing around, but at the end of the day, they're not really doing anything. You know what I mean?
So you got to remember, I guess,
Especially if you're a singer, like if you're a singer, like if you would have gone to see George Michael and he was lip syncing, oh my God, he didn't.
I would have been. No, he didn't. He didn't. That was because he didn't. He moved around a little bit, but that's
Sure.
what I'm saying. Like when you're a dancer, as far as like the people that I would we like together,
Yeah.
but like those people are putting on a performance, and it's hard. Try to like I just watched the Bad concert from Wembley just a few days ago, just because
Yeah.
I was in a bad mood and I wanted to
What a
get
great
myself
show.
out of it. So I wanted, and even in that one though, he did Thriller with his own, singing that one. That was usually one of the bigger ones because get his live vocals because it's the song itself is such a performance, same as Billie Jean, But I was watching that and I was like, after the first couple songs, I'm like maybe 12 minutes in, I'm like, I'm out of breath. Like watching him, how is he singing, dancing, doing all this stuff, and going from this side of the stage over to the other side of the stage all at the same time.
Yeah.
And then gonna say, okay, I'm gonna slow it down now. And then sit down and sing a couple slow songs without any like problem whatsoever. How is that? Because you gotta have you gotta have it's okay. Some people get out of breath, and I just think that if you're doing that, you have to do a half and half. Even it doesn't bother me when it comes to certain people, but
well, no, because I think Michael understood when he did have to start lip syncing certain songs for that very reason. He understood though that the people want to hear him, and he understood. Okay, well, I have to do that, but I'm still going to sing live because that's what people are here for too. So you're going to get both, and then it's okay.
Yeah.
My only problem is when the 100% of the show is lip syncing and there's no, you know what I mean? When it's just coming out there. I mean, Frankie Valli is 88 years old. Okay. Frankie Valli is still going out there and singing at 88 years old.
Yeah.
88. The bro don't move much because he's 88, but he still goes out there and he still does it. Now, mind you, there's some auto-tune on his voice, but he's 88. He's 88. And even with, yes, auto-tune is cheating too. Yes, blah, blah, blah. But he's trying. He's doing the thing like you were saying. Like, they want to see if he can still do it. They want to hear the songs. And Frank's like, man, the only way I can give him these songs is if I have to do this. It's not lip syncing, so it's not necessarily dishonest, but he's still going out there doing it. And Frankie's not charging $600 a freaking ticket. But
he probably can't hear that well either. So he probably has in-ears, that screws with your pitch, your pitch when you've lost your hearing. So
yeah. So leave us in the comments of this. Let us know what you think about the new lip sync craze going on. I know I wouldn't go see a concert if it was lip syncing. Now, I've made Taylor Swift jokes about her tickets, but she's completely live. I know that for a fact. There's no lip syncing there.
Yeah.
But so kudos. And her show is 3.5 freaking hours. With no intermission.
That's
3.5 hours. My God. Like,
I know.
Even in my 20s, I'd have been like, but
no.
But my sister's going to see that next weekend, actually.
Oh, that's cool. Cool.
Next up in the news, Andy, how do you say his last name? Muschietti, the guy that directed the It movies. He directed the new Flash movie that's coming out, which looks incredible. Don't get me wrong. But the reason it looks incredible is because Michael Keaton is returning as Batman.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, and he looks great. And the scenes they've shown are just, there's one part in the trailer, I don't know if you've seen it, where Batman's standing there. He's Michael Keaton in full bat suit, but without the mask on, right? And he goes, want to get nuts? Okay, let's get nuts. And I'm like, yes! Like, Is it fan
my
service? Absolutely, but it's the most delicious kind of fan service. But the reason I bring that up is I'm sure you're aware of all the stuff Ezra Miller has done. Like,
give me a recap.
Burglary, assault, grooming young women.
Oh, I thought we were talking about movies he had done.
No, his crimes.
Okay.
Weirdly, in a weird way, Warner Brothers hasn't really addressed it all that much, other than saying like he's in therapy and all this other stuff. And I understand why they didn't reshoot the Flash movie. It was done, and it would have cost the same cost of the movie to do it all over again. Don't redo it. Just focus it more on Batman in the trailers, and it's fine. But the director of this just said if they'd made a sequel, they'd bring Ezra Miller back again. What are your thoughts on something like that? Do you think... I'm genuinely curious, because I don't know how I feel. But, like, do you think, you know, with everything that he's done or been accused of or everything, do you really think it's wise of Warner Brothers to keep doubling down on him and bring him back more? Or do you think they should recast and just kind of move on after this?
So this is a Warner Brothers movie?
So yeah, Warner Brothers, well, now it's Warner Brothers Discovery, but Warner Brothers owns DC. So they own all that stuff. So what this movie is, for those of you not familiar, so the new Flash film is based on a comic series called Flashpoint that came out in the 90s. God, check my nerd card, people. I think it's 90s, where Flash discovers that he can go through time with how fast he runs, and he goes back in time to stop the death of his mother. Now, when he does that, he messes up everything, and the world gets all screwed up. And in the comic book, Batman is Batman's dad, and his mom is the Joker after all that, and it was Bruce Wayne that got killed, not his parents. And it's really it's a great story. It's amazing. So they borrowed from that a little. Like, that doesn't happen in this movie, but they borrowed from that a little. And Flash goes back in time to stop the death of his mom, and the timeline gets askewed, and Batman is no longer Ben Affleck, it's Michael Keaton. Superman is no longer Henry Cavill, it's the lady whose name I forget. Oh my god. She looks amazing though. As Supergirl, and villains come back from all the other stuff. And apparently he leaked, we're going to see Nicolas Cage as Superman, which was a Tim Burton movie that was supposed to happen that never did. We're going to get a cameo really quick because alternate universes. And I guess Christopher Reeves and Adam West are going to sort of be mentioned or seen. And like, so they're pulling out all the stops. You know what I mean? But so that's the story of the film. So with it being time travel, it would be very easy for them to have reshot the ending. And the Flash, you know, fixing everything, or so he thinks. And then at the end of the film, it's no longer Ezra Miller, it's somebody else. Like,
so
you know,
the whole, like, somebody should direct the whole thing again? Is that what you're saying?
No. What I'm saying is they should have left the movie how it is. I get that. But I personally would have changed the ending a little to make the time travel also affect how the Flash looks, thus justifying bringing in a new actor when they move forward with sequels and stuff like that. So, I mean, what do you think? Do you think that
you were asking,
go ahead.
The cancel? The canceling of that director, you're saying?
Of the actor. Of Ezra Miller,
That's what I mean. I'm sorry, I said director. Yeah. See, that's really touchy with me. I don't know. It's just like, I feel like I will trust the law and the court system for that, because I don't feel like anybody should be put in guilt eyes until proven guilty.
But he was though. He was proven guilty. Yes.
So, I thought you said did he have a couple pending? I guess it don't matter.
No, so all the assault and burglary and all that, and the kidnapping of a young girl, all happened and was confirmed, and he already got sentenced for all the burglary and stuff. So, like, it's public knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So my question being, knowing that it's public knowledge, knowing that like he was convicted and or just that it's been true, do you think Warner Brothers is right by keeping him and putting him through therapy and letting him try to redeem himself? Or do you think they should just move on with somebody else? Like, what would you do in that situation? You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, one thing is, I know that the reason I said Warner Brothers, it didn't matter because there's a whole bunch of big ones. Warner Brothers ain't trying to have their money get messed up. They're not trying, so they've done research. They know all the things about, well, if we just say that maybe we can send him, would that be good enough to say that if we're going to send him for therapy? And because we got to can we just keep it the way it is and just promise? I'm sure they don't want to spend a whole bunch more money filming a whole bunch of other stuff if they have to do that. I think that the movie company is probably doing what they think is the best for their money, because I don't think it's anything to do with any kind of like feelings. I'm pretty sure.
No.
You know, they just don't want people to stay away from the movie theater because of that. And so they're going to put a comment out there to say, yes, you know, this guy is trying to redeem himself and go to counseling. And I don't know if redeeming isn't the right word for it.
No,
but
it is. That is,
it just didn't feel right. But, you know, to be able to do that, maybe we can give him a chance. You know, there's been, and I'm saying I've been guilty of it too, but the last few years, there has been a lot of canceling of things. Some things we don't know all the details. And I mean, this guy, we definitely know the details, but can we give him a second chance and maybe see if rehabilitation? Because
I don't necessarily believe in cancel culture per se, because I think, well, first of all, cancel culture isn't real. It's only real if only real if you let it be. But like, well, what I mean is like, as an example, so Kevin Spacey, right? It shattered my soul when all that stuff about Kevin Spacey came out. He was one of my favorite actors. Yes, me too, in the whole world. And that came out and it broke my heart. And I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. I still, you know, does that mean I'm never going to watch a film he was in before that I loved? No. Now, does it mean it might mean I'm not going to give him money now. You know what I mean? Knowing these things. But like, it was stuff like Bill Cosby, okay? Stuff that Bill did wasn't okay. Wasn't okay. Does that mean that I don't think the Himself special is funny? No. But if Bill went on tour, but if Bill went on tour, I ain't going, and I'm not giving him money. Like, it's a weird slippery slope, and I know it might offend some people, and if it does, I'm sorry. Like, trying to separate the person, like we talk about all the time, from the person from their actions. And sometimes I have a really hard time with that, especially when it's something I grew up on and I'm so, like, it's so ingrained into me as a person. I have a really hard time just saying screw everything they ever did and never looking at it again. But I do believe the severity of the defense, or of the offense, I'm sorry, the severity of the offense should reflect whether they get work in the future. Like, should Johnny Depp have been released from the Pirates franchise? Absolutely not. But should Bill Cosby get work now? No. You know what I mean? Like, but I still own records of his, and once in a while I'll listen to him. I won't advertise like the genius of Bill Cosby, but in the privacy of my own home, I might still listen to some of his older stuff just because it's what I enjoyed as a kid. But, you know, do I think Bill Cosby should get work? No. And I kind of feel like Ezra Miller is tiptoeing on that same line. Like, the burglary and stuff, I mean, whatever. Ice-T was a criminal, and look at him. Like, Ice-T went on to do amazing things, and he's an incredible actor now, and he, you know, does all this awesome charity stuff, and he's Ice-T is amazing. Yeah. But he didn't sexually assault people, and he didn't kidnap people. Like, so I guess that's my big thing is, where do you think the line is between, okay, he made some mistakes and we're going to let him better himself and learn and grow, or just be, you're done. You know what I mean? Because it's like, Ezra Miller is going to be in more movies by the sounds of it, but Kevin Spacey can't get any work, and the offenses are almost the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying give Kevin Spacey work. Hold on. I'm not saying give Kevin Spacey work. I'm saying hold everybody to the same standard.
And let me tell you something, though, what I think is some of this stuff is as we progress, we also grow and we also learn. And we know that what was maybe something that canceled somebody else, that now we might be thinking like, do we have to do that? Maybe we can give somebody a chance. So maybe whatever that was 7-8 years ago when that happened to Kevin Spacey, maybe our mindset was that he's done. And now these years later, we're thinking like, was it right to just say, hey, was it really right for his personal actions to be something that was, when we want to watch a movie, does that have to go, coincide with it? Does it have to go together? But then again, like with Kevin Spacey, I want to say this, that, he's once again, one of my favorite actors. One of my favorite movies is American Beauty. Yes. And just the concept of that masterpiece. The concept of that story, though, is not setting right in my mind as I watch, because it's, if you've never seen it, I'm not going to say, but I know what I'm talking about. Though.
Yep.
So that whole thing is like, so there might be certain movies that I wouldn't want to see certain people in because it would remind me of maybe the things that they might have allegedly done, if only they had not been convicted. If they've been convicted, guilty, whatever. But I'm just saying, like,
sure.
Anyway, but
like you're not going to hire Charles Manson to do a telethon. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, you know what I mean? No. So I mean, maybe there is no answer really right now, but like, it's a really interesting topic to me as far as like how far is too far. You know what I mean? And not to me, because I know how far is too far to me. Like once there's assault, and especially sexual assault and things like that, then I'm done with you. Like that's it.
Yes.
But for Hollywood, how far is too far, and why is it too far for some but not too far for others? I guess is what I can't comprehend. And I know neither of us are going to know the answer to that question, but
never ending. And
it sucks because Ezra Miller is a phenomenal actor. My girlfriend showed me this film, I don't know if you've ever seen it, called The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Mm-mm.
And it's him and Emma Watson from Hermione from Harry Potter. And I forget the other main kid's name, I'm sorry. But it's amazing. It is an amazing film. It's based on a book, but it's I'd never seen it. I cried. It's so good. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a drama, and I won't talk about what it's about because it's one of those movies that if you tell the plot, you kind of spoil the movie. But I highly recommend anybody who's never seen it. If you like a great drama, it is so good. And he is incredible in that movie. And that, I think, was his first, like, big starring kind of thing. And, like, it was nothing but success in the future for that kid. And then you get him in Justice League, and, he's still great, but the movie was meh. So when The Flash was coming, I'm like, sweet, he gets his own movie. I know he's a great actor. I know he's going to kill this. And then all that stuff starts happening. And I'm like, there goes another one.
Yeah.
So I definitely would be interested in people's opinions on that too. Like, are you going to go June? I want to say it's in like 2 weeks. Let me look here, because thankfully we do these on a computer and I have the internet right here. The Flash comes out June 16th.
Okay.
So like 2.5-ish weeks, right? Ish.
That's it's a Wednesday. Yeah.
And I hardcore want to go see it in the theater. Maybe we could both go see it, and we'll review it on an episode. That'd be fun. Hitman and Todd go to the movies.
Sure.
it'll be like Men on Film, only not. For those of you who watch In Living Color, know what I'm talking about. But tell us in the comments. Two snaps and around the world. Hated it.
Hated it.
If you've never watched In Living Color, please do. You're in for a treat. Oh, really quick side note before this last news bit. So I saw this thing on TikTok. I don't know if you know this. So the movie Liar Liar, right? You've seen that movie, right? Yeah. So there's a scene where there's like a fire happening, and they're all standing in a crowd, and there's firemen behind everybody, and Jim Carrey's in the people that are standing there. I want to say it's Liar Liar. But behind him with the firemen is him being Fire Marshal Bill.
Oh my God.
And nobody noticed. Like, he doesn't talk or anything, but he's standing back there among the firemen as Fire Marshal Bill. Yeah. I love Jim Carrey.
That's cool. I do too.
So yeah, let us know what you think about, about how far is too far, and what you think about, how actors like that should be approached nowadays. I'm someone, and also because I have another YouTube channel called Todd's Turntable Talk, cheap plug, where I talk about records and stuff, and I love engaging with people in the comments and talking about stuff. So please, in the comments, let us know what you think about that. Neither of us have the right answer, but I'd be very intrigued to see what people think the right answer might be. Lastly, in the news, and this happened, I want to say a little over a week or two ago, but we haven't been doing these segments. Foo Fighters finally announced their new drummer. And their new drummer is the legendary Josh Freese. For those of you who don't know who Josh Freese is, turn on the radio. You'll hear him literally probably at least once. Josh Freese has played on over 400 albums as a session musician. Josh Freese, some great examples. He played for Nine Inch Nails. He played for Devo for 25 years. He had a band called the Vandals. He played in the first two Perfect Circle albums are him. When Axl Rose put Guns N' Roses back together without Slash in them, Josh Freese was the drummer. Josh is freaking incredible. He is an amazing drummer. And when they did the tour, or not tour, the Taylor Hawkins tribute shows, Josh Freese played with Wolfgang Van Halen, Dave Grohl, and Justin Hawkins. They did a couple of Van Halen tunes. But then when the Foo Fighters did their own sets, Josh was the first drummer each time. And when I'm watching the special, I'm thinking, is it going to be Josh? Because he seems to be opening each time and then leaving the drums for other people. And the people that were in the big contention that people were like hoping it was going to be were Josh Freese, Matt Cameron, who is the drummer from Soundgarden and also now for Pearl Jam, Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers, where anybody who knows Chili Peppers knows there's no way in hell that's going to happen. He's already got his own thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Rufus Taylor, who plays in The Darkness and is the son of Roger Taylor from Queen. A lot of people I know were rooting for Rufus, but I was like, no, it's Josh. It's Josh. And they put out the concert special called Preparing Music for Concerts, because, truth in advertising. Yeah. And they do a little black and white, like, hour set in a free live stream. But they sound incredible. Like, I'm so excited for the new album. Like, their new album drops. As of this taping, the new album drops in 2 days. So by the next episode, by the time you hear this episode, the album will have been out. And we'll review it on an episode after that. But, have you heard the new tunes at all? Any of the new ones?
I heard the first one that they were
rescued.
Yes. I wasn't sure because I saw one of those like the words, the video
Yeah,
that just had
lyric
the words
video.
on it. One of those. Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, maybe I just wait for the next one because they always usually put like for the first song. Well, the last few they did, but then I really enjoyed the whole album. Of like the Medicine at Midnight is one of my favorite albums ever. I don't know why nobody really ever talks about it. It just must be me. It must have hit at the right time. That's
Of
probably
their
what it was
of
for me,
their
with that album.
albums, of their albums, my top two are Medicine at Midnight and Wasting Light are my two favorites. They're so good. They're so good.
Yes.
But I'm in that same boat. Like I heard two. I've heard two of the songs. And they played one during the live stream, but I kind of only half paid attention because I kind of want to be surprised when I hear the album.
Yeah.
Like I want to put the needle down for the first time and that be the first time I'm hearing the rest of these songs.
Yeah.
And I want to take it in as an experience, as one solid work. You know what I mean? But there's people that are like, oh, Foo Fighters should have just hung it up, and after Taylor died, they shouldn't have kept going and all that stuff. And it's like, the Foo Fighters were a band before Taylor. Taylor was not the original drummer of the Foo Fighters.
The one thing that I was wondering though is the harmonies that Taylor would bring with Dave's lead vocal thing. Is there anybody that's going to be able to fill those higher,
Chris Shiflett. Chris Shiflett is doing it now, the guitar player. And in the special he did, and he sounds great. I mean, it's not the same because it's not Taylor, you know, but he sounds amazing. The only thing I'm sad about is on this tour, they don't have the backing singers. The girls aren't with them. And I thought they added such a really cool element. But when you look at the set list, they're doing a lot of stuff from albums before them. So, you know, to bring them along on a whole tour for two songs probably didn't make a whole lot of sense.
When I was talking about Medicine at Midnight, there's a couple songs that those girls sing on that album, and that album is just almost like a different style of music. I mean, it's not, but it just doesn't. It fits with some background girl singers, you know. But a lot of their music doesn't. But the music on that one album that those girls were touring with them with were perfect fit. But do they really need the girls for the whole thing? Probably not.
Right. Well, and like, I know they would do stuff from the album before that, or a couple before that, Concrete and Gold, like Sky as a Neighborhood and stuff, and have the girls sing in on that too. But because when Medicine at Midnight, when that album kicks off, the first song is Making a Fire, and the first vocals you hear are the girls, and they're incredible. But like, I'm kind of hoping they come back. I really am. But
me too.
You know, I think that them moving on and moving forward and to keep going was a great thing. And when you watch a concert special and see the joy with the band to be playing again, and they all know Josh and they all have history with Josh, so it's like a comfortable like transition, you know. It's like bringing in an old friend to make the transition easier. I know Josh is not on the record is Dave, because they hadn't chosen a drummer yet, and I think also because the concept of the album is the whole album is about them coping with the loss of Taylor. And so it made sense for Dave to be the one playing drums. But from what I understand, Josh is the drummer now, and albums going forward will be Josh. But for this album, it's Dave.
Okay. Yeah. So
I'm looking forward to it. And if they come to Detroit, we're going.
Nothing wrong with that.
We're going if they come.
I'll go that for sure, yeah.
We're going. So that's our entertainment news for the day. And next up, another segment we loved, I can talk today, doing, and that is Today in Entertainment History. Now, there's not a lot of stuff in world history today for June 5th. Weirdly enough, apparently not a lot was happening on June 5th. Apparently everybody just stayed home and nothing cool happened. But in 1956, though, was the debut of Elvis performing Hound Dog on live TV for the first time.
Wow, that is a big thing. It's
the performance that earned him the nickname Elvis the Pelvis. That's right. In 1956. I don't remember which show it was, though. Do you?
Did you say the Ed Sullivan Show?
I don't remember what show it was. Do you? Was it Ed Sullivan or was it Merv Griffin?
No, it could have been the Steve Lawrence, because I remember a Steve Lawrence show where he did Hound Dog.
Okay.
And they had to tame him down a little bit. And I think it was Steve Lawrence. And it was in black and white. Yeah, I think so. They wanted him to calm it down. So the next time he came back, he wore a suit. And it was like a big deal. Like, oh, my God, so we've now reformed him or whatever. It was like they were trying to make a joke out of it because he had made such a spectacle before. And I feel like it's a Steve Lawrence show, but I'm not 100 on that.
Also today in 1968, Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated. The attacker,
that was today?
The attacker, a 24-year-old Palestinian who was disgruntled by Kennedy's support for Israel. The brother of the former U.S. President John F. Kennedy died on that following day. 2 Kennedys assassinated. I mean, that's crazy, dude, when you think about it.
It is.
On this day in 1977, the world was introduced to the Apple II computer. Remember the Apple II? Mm-hmm. The big brown computer with the green graphics on the screen that everybody played Oregon Trail on? Oh, yeah.
Tetris,
Yeah. And to this day, we still feel Apple around as I'm recording this on a MacBook, wearing an Apple Watch, and we both have iPhones. So,
Yes.
Thanks, Apple.
Mm-hmm. A lot of my life is lived, but I don't have my watch on, but because it sometimes interferes when you have too many other things at the same time they all want to answer. It's because somebody had just tried to FaceTime me a few minutes ago, and I had to go over there and shut it off because it was going ding, ding, and the phone was doing it. And I'm glad I didn't have my watch because all 3 would have been going off at the same time.
I'm an Apple fan. Now, I'm not saying Apple is better. It's just different.
It's just different.
I prefer it. That doesn't mean it's better.
It's a this or that. It's a this or that. That's what it is. It's a this or that.
And then finally, on a downer a little bit to end this part, in 1981 was the first case of AIDS was reported. June 5th, 1981. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention described live cases of a rare form of pneumonia. A deadly immune deficiency disease later became known as AIDS. In 2000, more than 40 million people worldwide were affected. And of course, the most famous being Freddie Mercury, who they still have a foundation in his name. That Queen, like a lot of their money they make from their tours every year go to that foundation.
I feel like I remember the first time I heard about the AIDS thing was when Rock Hudson had it. Remember when Rock Hudson had it? And he was on TV, and he had his good friend Doris Day alongside of him, and he was having a press conference. It kind of pretty much just, they're going out and they're talking and whatever, and he had looked so bad, nobody knew what it was. And this wasn't, might even been like, it definitely was past 81.
Sure.
But I don't think it was like in between 81 and then when 91.
If I remember right, Rock Hudson was the first celebrity to admit it, right? To admit that he had it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Freddie didn't announce it until 2 days before he died. Or the day before he died. Because the band kind of kept him protected because it's nobody's business, But Freddie had made appearances and looked really sickly, and everybody kind of had a hunch that's what it was because, unfortunately, in a profiling way, unfortunately back then, AIDS was linked to homosexuality. So because Freddie Mercury was of that orientation, people just assumed that's what it was, which is disgusting on its face. But not the homosexuality part, the people assuming that's why. And then, it came out in the papers from him. He had it, and the next day he died, which is crazy when you think about it.
The timing on that, it's real close. Go ahead and release that. that statement.
Right.
It's getting real close. I mean, how would you? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not funny. I don't mean it to be. I'm not laughing at
No.
what it is. I'm saying like the timing of it was like, did they go, okay, like, ooh, his breathing is getting really shallow. I think we got about 30 more minutes. We could send that out.
It's kind of
like
like David Bowie, man. When David Bowie
same.
was dying of cancer, he went in the studio and recorded his final album while he was dying of cancer. And he was not okay. Like, you see the music videos, you can tell he is sick. And he went in there and recorded his last album. And, like, then the album came out, and didn't he die, like, a week later? Something
not
like that?
Not even that. Yeah, a few days later, like 3 or 4 days later, yeah.
If you haven't heard David Bowie's Black Star, it's incredible. I know you have, but yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So that's going to end it for our entertainment news and for the Today in History. And I think we'd like to wrap up the episode today by talking about our album of the week this week. Last week, Hitman gave us an amazing album. I went back and listened to it after the show with Tom Petty's Wallflowers because, God, it's such a good album. And in the vein of amazing production is where I'm going with mine this week. And the album that I would like to recommend, I just bought yesterday of this taping, is Bryan Adams' album Get Up. This album came out in 2015 and was produced by the legendary Jeff Lynne of Electric Light Orchestra. Anybody who's an ELO fan automatically knows what that sounds like.
Yeah. Yes.
No matter what, no matter who it is, if you see Jeff Lynne's name on there, it sounds like this. Like,
can I just say one thing?
Free falling into the great wide open.
Yes. Well, that's what I was saying. Like, our 2 weeks kind of almost blended together, and the common denominator is Jeff Lynne. Jeff Lynne didn't work on Wildflowers, but I'm just saying, like, great producers, whatever. Well, I'm just saying, you know what? I didn't know about this. I can't believe I didn't know about that until you told me yesterday that Jeff Lynne produced it. I didn't even know that. How come I didn't know that? It's weird.
Well, go back and listen to it now, knowing that, and you'll be like, oh, know. Yeah, and, for sure. Jeff Lynne, legendary, goes back with Electric Light Orchestra, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison. He produced Roy Orbison's final album, which is also a masterpiece of an album. Mystery Girl. Oh, it's so good. But this album of Bryan Adams called Get Up, it's really awesome because you get the grit of Bryan Adams, because he always has this kind of grit to him, to his style and to his voice. Yeah. But you combine that with Jeff Lynne's production and the way he approaches instruments, because Jeff also plays almost every instrument on this album, except for guitars. Bryan Adams plays guitars, of course. Jeff plays some guitars, but bass and drums on this album are all played by Jeff. And Jeff has a very distinct drum sound. Very distinct.
That's what I wanted to ask. So, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but in the vein of, let's say, like the acoustic guitars that's always prevalent in Jeff Lynne's production, like even when he did the Flaming Pie with Paul McCartney, it has the strut, like a Tom Petty kind of vibe, like a string. Like usually there's some acoustic guitar in there more than and the drums are a little bit different than what you usually know. They're almost like canned drum. It's just a production. Does this have a sound of like one of those, like a Tom Petty album?
Yep, like absolutely.
Full Moon Fever. Full Moon Fever kind of thing.
Absolutely. It has the same sound of like the Joe Walsh album Analog Man that he produced. The Flaming Pie album is a great example. It sounds a lot like that too. So Jeff Lynne also produced Paul McCartney, and Jeff Lynne, to show you how big of an important man Jeff Lynne is.
I know where you're going.
He also produced the last 2 songs the Beatles ever recorded.
Yes. And can I put in there too?
Come on.
I got to put in that one last thing that we didn't say, because I thought you were going to say it, but when they interviewed John Lennon for one of the last interviews, where I'm going with this, the interviewer said, so if the Beatles were still together, what would they sound like? And he said, I don't know, ask Jeff Lynne.
Yeah.
one
No
of John
pressure,
Lennon's
Jeff.
last interviews. He said that.
No pressure, Jeff. Yeah. So yeah, Jeff Lynne is one of my favorite producers in the whole world.
Me too.
My favorites, if I had to do a top 5, not saying you have to do this, but just off the top of my head, my favorites would be Jeff Lynne, Rick Rubin, Daniel Lanois, let me think. T-Bone Burnett.
I'm gonna give you one. Mm-hmm.
T-Bone Burnett's amazing. And probably, man, it's a tie between Quincy Jones and George Martin.
Really?
Because
You know what, I'm
now
really
I know
shocked.
George
I'm really
Martin is
shocked.
bigger because of the Beatles and everything. But Quincy did some just amazing stuff the world has never heard before or since.
Quincy, here's one thing that maybe people don't know. Quincy was in the Rat Pack era because he's old, But so he produced Frank Sinatra. He was his band leader. Frank Sinatra's band leader was Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones produced My Way.
I didn't know
by Frank
that.
Sinatra.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that you say
if I'm
that,
wrong,
though,
now
that you say that,
I'm really sad
I
'cause I
can
might be wrong.
I
gotta
can
say,
hear
I might
that.
Be wrong. I might be wrong.
I'm going to look right now.
I might be wrong, but he was with that. He's one of those big songs like My Way or New York, New York. One of those, I swear, it could have been New York, New York, New York, New York. I can't. It was one of the bigger ones. I could have swore it was one of those that he.
So My Way was Sonny Burke.
Okay.
Frank Sinatra. Well, hold on. I because I can hear. Oh, Fly Me to the Moon.
Okay.
Fly Me to the Moon.
I knew it was a big one. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he also produced the final album Frank ever did. That's really cool.
What was that called?
L.A. Is My Lady in 1984.
Oh, okay.
Where he did Mac the Knife and stuff like that. No, Quincy, though, just some of the amazing things that Quincy has done, like, really puts him in my category of, and maybe top 5 was wrong because now I'm thinking of 4 more, but like,
no, you know why? You know why though? You didn't say Phil Ramone. I could have swore he would have been in your top 5. I'm
fired. Yeah, Phil Ramone, who produced literally all but 2 of Billy Joel's albums. Yeah, didn't do the last 2, but yeah. But going back to
he did some really good work though with some other people right around that same time. Gosh, I know you know, but he brought some new life to some people back in the day too. He did resurrect some people their career for producing, even if it's like he did some like orchestral stuff too. I think I remember I can't remember who it was. I just wasn't prepared today, but I know
you're fine.
Along with
I don't remember
Phil
either.
Ramone, I don't know why. There's a really good documentary on him too that we'll have to look that up. Look it up. I saw a part of it on YouTube, so I don't know. It was on YouTube, so I don't know if it was like through a streaming service or somebody made it, but it was really professionally done. And I watched about a half hour of it. And it was they really were in deep with his story. So
that's awesome.
That was really good.
So circling back, Bryan Adams, Get Up. Where did I put it? There it is. Bryan Adams, Get Up. It's a great album. Only 9 songs.
Is it a full album?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say okay.
It's 9 songs, and then 4 acoustic versions of those songs ends the album. But it's a great record. I picked it up for like $20. You can get it on Amazon for like $20. It's great. I love it.
Cool.
So that's going to do it for this week's episode. Next week, we are going to talk all about the new Foo Fighters record that drops. We're both pretty pumped about that.
I hope it's good. It can't not be good, right? It can't not be good.
It better be.
So,
and until next time, my name is Todd Gilbert.
And I am Brett the Hitman.
And we will see you on the flip side.
Toodles.